Welcome back to Linda Love Talks, a space for honest conversations, healing, and hope. And I'm your host, Linda Love Lemos, and today's episode is deeply personal. We're talking about thriving with sarcoidosis, a chronic inflammatory disease that puts the immune system into overdrive and often leaves people feeling isolated, misunderstood, and searching for answers. This conversation matters because for many of us, the diagnosis doesn't just affect our bodies, it actually reshapes our lives. I'm especially honored to be joined by two extraordinary women, Lavetta Lovely Smith and Jacqueline Simmonds, founder of Jackie's Tea. Both are accomplished authors and advocates and warriors in their own right. I'm proud to call them friends. These women have lived this journey, faced the uncertainty, and still found ways to build purpose, wellness, and joy. Their voices bring not just knowledge, but comfort, the kind that comes from being truly seen and understood. I want to be transparent with you. I was recently diagnosed with sarcoidosis, and like so many others, I found myself asking, who do I turn to? Who understands this? Today's conversation is part of that answer. If you're living with chronic illness, supporting someone who is, or simply seeking connection and strength, this episode is for you. You are not alone. We are not alone. Let's talk, let's heal, and let's thrive together. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. It's season 4 of Linda Love Talks podcast. I am here with Lavetta Lovely Smith and Jackie. Both have been on my show previously, and we're doing a really great, wonderful recap, a little bit of about these ladies who have endured and are sarcoidosis warriors. And we have some happy updates, which is always a good thing to have. Let's go around the room. Lavetta, if you just want to introduce yourself real quick, and then Jackie.
Sure. Hi. So I am Lavetta Smith. I am originally from New York City, but I currently reside in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I am definitely a sarcoidosis warrior.
Okay, so I am living in Canada and I've had sarcoidosis for about 15 years. Definitely a warrior. Um, it has been a uphill battle, sometimes downhill, and sometimes, cruising. But overall, I should say I'm fully blessed.
That's wonderful. And the theme for this podcast specifically is living with sarcoidosis and creating resilience for a better life. And these ladies really, I'm so happy to have met them. Believe it or not, we met online. We met through a sarcoidosis support page via Facebook, and we've been able to keep in contact ever since. And it's been absolutely wonderful to have met them. They gave me so much good advice with my own sarcoidosis, and they made me feel less lonely because no one in my family allegedly has sarcoid, and I had no friends that could understand me. So let's go around the room and share some wonderful updates. Lavetta, I believe you've been published. You've been in a few newspapers. You have a new business as well.
Yeah, so a lot has been going on in the last 2.5 years since you and I last had a chance to sit down and speak. If I do remember correctly, when we last spoke, I was on oxygen. So I have preliminary sarcoidosis. And at that time, when you and I last spoke, I was heavily on oxygen. I was on oxygen 24/7. I had gotten sick in 21 and I thought I had had COVID, but it turned out that I had a walking pneumonia. I had a lung infection. I had quite a few other things going on at the time, which was definitely interfering with the preliminary sarcoidosis. And my preliminary doctor had suggested after my 14th day visit in the hospital that I needed to have a double lung transplant. So I cannot even begin to tell you the disbelief, the shock. I didn't even think that was even possible, right? Like, who in the world has a double lung transplant? But my condition with sarcoidosis was so severe, and I had such severe scar tissue, and my lungs was just really, really in bad condition. And so I had to relocate to Durham, which I did in 22. And I was on the list for about a year and a half to get the double lung transplant, and mainly because during evaluation, they discovered that I had a really, really bad lung infection. It was called a MAC infection. And because my lungs were so severely damaged, I had like holes in my lungs, and the infection, it was living inside of the holes. It was like living, breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and growing inside the holes. And so I had to go on intense IV medication for about 8 months. And let me tell you, that was just not pretty. Like, I was really, really sick. And then after the 8 month time period, I was in a place where I was able to get listed and finally have the transplant. Duke was wonderful. I had a great experience, even though the procedure itself was not pretty, right? But the
Right. Yeah.
experience with Duke was really, really, I mean, they just really made me feel really good and took very good care of me. So I ended up getting the call August 13th at 6 a.m. in the morning to come to the hospital because they had a set of lungs for me. Now that was like, it was like a bittersweet moment. I was like excited, and then I was definitely very stressed at the same time. Because sometimes when you get called for a lung transplant, the doctors have to actually check out the lungs, and sometimes they may not be good. So they call that a dry run, where
Mm.
you are not able to get the surgery. But
Mm-hmm.
thank God in my case the lungs were good. It was a perfect fit, and so I was able to have the surgery. It was a 10-hour surgery, very, very detailed, very intense. I
Mm-hmm.
ended up being in ICU for 3 weeks, and then what they call the step down unit for 2 weeks, which is where they try to get you up and walking and, things of that nature. So in total, I spent 5 weeks in the hospital. And it was a journey, it was definitely a really, really hard journey. But here we are, a year and a half later. I already made my 1 year anniversary. And,
Woohoo.
great things happened, in between that time. So,
Yeah, since we last spoke, my sarcoidosis has been active most of the time. And as you know, I have sarcoidosis in my lungs, my spleen, my liver, and it's also affected my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Now the update I have, it's now in my stomach
Mm-hmm.
and in my voice box.
Oh, you poor thing.
So sometimes when, I remember we wanted to connect and I couldn't because I couldn't speak. My voice just goes. That's the biggest challenge for me is the voice. I know the stomach is really, it's a dangerous thing. We'll talk about that first, but I'm going to talk about the voice box because that's one is one of my main concerns because as you guys know, I love to talk. And if I can't talk, there goes all my joy.
Mm-hmm.
So what has happened? I woke up one morning and I was just hoarse, and I couldn't figure out why I was so hoarse. And not only hoarse, but my voice was really squeaky voice. And so I made a note of it because I journaled everything, made a note of it. And it was in the summer months. So I said, oh, maybe it's just, allergies. So I waited for the summer to be over, waited about October, November, and I spoke to my doctor about it. And it doesn't happen every day. It will happen, say, for 3-4 hours, and then I get my voice back. And then sometimes it'll happen for the entire day. So it's sporadic. And we spoke about it, and then he said, it's only 1% of sarcoidosis patients that it affects their speaking,
Mm-hmm.
their voice box. So I said, well, it was 1% for the stomach also. So I said, you know what, let's get tested. So I had to go to a specialist, and then he inserted the scope
Scope.
inside my, yes. And when he went down there, he realized that, yes, it is the sarcoidosis that's affecting your voice. Now, the bad thing about that, the good thing about that is I know what is affecting my voice. But the bad thing about that is there's no cure.
Right.
It there's no cure. It will only get worse over time.
Mm-hmm.
So what I am trying to do, like every day, I try to do like a blog, not a blog, like a speaking blog, just to say, for example, one day I'll get up and I can't speak, at least I know what my voice sounded like.
You know, that's so interesting that you say that. And it's hard because sarcoidosis, a lot of people also when they first become diagnosed, they think they only have it in one certain organ or not. But
Yeah.
technically the definition is multi-organ and multi-symptom, which means you could feel good all of a sudden, whatever was hurting you, let's say your liver or whatever, and then all of a sudden that's good or patched up, and then all of a sudden you have an issue with another organ. And it's so funny. Well, it's not funny, but it's very interesting that you mentioned voice. The whole
Yes.
reason I started my podcast was because I was having issues with my voice and
Mm,
my throat. I couldn't swallow
mm,
and I was having neurological difficulties as well.
mm,
So I could see the words in my head, but they couldn't come out.
mm,
And then I realized, reading through medical journals and so on and so forth, that I actually needed to talk, that the more I talked, the better it could get as therapy for myself. So that's one of the reasons. And also because it was right after the pandemic and um, there was so much isolation here in the United States, and I can imagine around the world as well. And I thought it would be a wonderful way to connect with people. And as you ladies well know, sometimes with sarcoid, there's so many things that we can't do. We can't be out in the sun all day. We
no,
can't
we
be in the
can't.
heat. We can't really, we can exercise lightly, but we can't over exercise. So all my friends that like to do extreme sports, I have to be like, okay, I'll watch you.
Right. I can't do
I can't do that.
it.
I can't run a marathon. It was very interesting. My doctor was like, don't try to run a marathon or anything like that. I'm like, okay, I'll take your advice. So Jackie, what's the name of your new blog?
Navigating autoimmune disease. That's my new blog.
Nice.
I created that. Was it sometime last year? Remember when I had that post up? So I
Yes.
created that. One of the reasons why I created the navigating autoimmune disease is because sarcoidosis. When you discover you have sarcoidosis, trust me, you're going to get another autoimmune disease with it. It's not just sarcoidosis.
Hmm.
It could be diabetes. It could be arthritis. Any one of those other immune disease comes along with sarcoidosis. And that's one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to do an overall blog that covers multi-immune conditions.
Yeah, and I
And
love it. I learned so much from it. I've learned so much from both of you ladies.
yeah, and and I also have friends who also has different autoimmune condition. I have a friend right now who is going for a liver transplant because he had bad diabetes. Is it diabetes? I think diabetes. He has diabetes. So and then he's on the list for a liver a transplant. So there is so much things that a lot of people don't know that you just have sarcoidosis. It's not just sarcoidosis. Trust me, it's so much more than sarcoidosis. Um, I also did. I want to touch on my sarcoidosis of my stomach because that is also very rare. It's also 1% of patients who get sarcoidosis has it in their stomach.
Hmm.
And the way I discovered that is I got up again and just nauseated. So if ladies or anyone who's listening, gentlemen also, if you're feeling nauseated all the time, please
Hmm.
go and have your checkup. So I was feeling nauseated. Everything I ate would just,
Hmm.
it was like I was pregnant all over again. I just couldn't keep anything down.
That's
But it wasn't
yeah.
morning sickness. It
Yeah.
was right through the day. And it doesn't matter what. If I, it's not like if I smelled something, I would get nauseated. It's when I ate something, I would get nauseated. So we
And it
got it
doesn't
checked out. I
matter.
had,
It
it
doesn't
does
matter
matter.
what you eat. You could have yogurt and
Yeah,
you'll be nauseous. Yep.
I would be
That.
nauseous.
Hmm.
So it took three biopsies to, because the doctors, they couldn't believe it, that I had
Hmm.
sarcoidosis in my stomach. So three biopsies to confirm that it was sarcoidosis in my stomach. Now, the bad thing about that, I'm having one in a month. In
Hmm.
4 weeks, I'm going to have another biopsy.
Hmm.
The bad thing about that
Hmm.
is that it's very high risk for cancer.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is, I don't know what the connection is or what percentage there is. I would have to do my homework on it. But it seems to be from just the support group that there's a lot of people who've either had sarcoid first and then end up with cancer, or
Yes.
had cancer first and then end up with sarcoid. And very interesting as well, most recently, the NIH of the US, National Institute of Health, created a report stating that they realized there was a report stating they realized that there's a lot of people that have had long COVID,
Mm.
who end up with sarcoidosis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that, but we learn so much every day. The other thing that I want to note is when I had the biopsies, the three biopsies, and they came back confirmed, it is sarcoidosis of the stomach. And we decided that we were going to monitor it. And the doctor decided, all right, the best way to do it is to have a biopsy what, 2 years, every 2 years or a year and a half. So the last one I had, the cells were already changing. So
Mm.
now we had to schedule, and that's why we scheduled this biopsy, to go back to see how much the cells are changing. Because once the cells are changing, that's not good, right?
Right.
Um,
Did they give you a proton pump inhibitor or
yeah,
something for your stomach to take so you're not so nauseous?
yeah, yes, they gave me something for the not the nauseation, but Linda, I just don't like to take all the medication.
I know. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't even like going to see, like when I first was diagnosed was in 21, I was seeing like 8 specialists every single month because it was like I was definitely having a flare, and I'm basically their only patient, and then I had to like prove to them that I had sarcoid, obviously because of what I look like, because I'm so fair skinned, and I'm like, listen, it was diagnosed, like, um, but it was hard. And now I'm in what it's 2025. It's been a couple years, and I'm at the point, if it's like I still go see my specialist if I feel like I have to.
Mhm,
But I've slowed it down, so I do still follow up with like the pulmonary and my pulmonary doctor and rheumatologist and my
mhm,
primary care. Um, but almost feel like um they've they've given me Plaquenil, which I'll probably have to take for the rest of my life.
mhm,
The dosage has gone down, and I'm managing sarcoid with that. I'm exercising 5 or 6 days a week, just walking or elliptical 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. I can't 45 minutes, it's like I'm pushing it. And then turmeric and some vitamins, and that's for right now how I'm managing it. But it's something that doesn't go away, and you still have to live your life. And I think that's the whole point of this podcast too. It's
Absolutely.
right, even if you have lupus or whatnot, and it gets hard. I totally feel Jackie, because like in 2018, before they I was diagnosed, I was nauseous every single day. I thought I was pregnant. You have no idea how many pregnancy tests I bought because I was like, what is going on? And it took 19, 23 years after, just for 3 years straight, I just felt nauseous. And I was like, well, maybe I need to stop eating this. And you start cutting food off,
yes,
right? Because maybe it's this, maybe it's that.
yes.
Maybe I ate fast food, and then
Or too much grease or something. You're overthinking it, even though you know you're not doing it. You're
hmm
still overthinking it. Yes.
Yeah, so we're very sensitive. Sarcoidosis, and not just because of the sarcoid, also the medication.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely medication. Because even after surgery, that was one of the hardest things that I had to deal with was I could not eat. Like I could not eat anything. Everything had a horrific taste to it. Couldn't keep anything down. And I was on a lot of medication.
What's one of those things that you say now that you have sarcoid, you've been managing it and dealing with it for a couple of years. You said once you had it, you said, I'm not dealing with this anymore. And I'm gonna go first and then we'll go around the room. For me, it was my hair. I said, I'm not going to deal with my hair anymore. It changed, it thinned out, it would not easily, I couldn't, it would fall a lot. So that's one of the things I said, because it also depends on your medication. Some medications can be aggressive and can make your hair fall out more. And it was harder because it's almost like challenging who you are as your character and as your person. Losing my hair was difficult, but now it's like I'm not even going to deal with it. So I just get a very short haircut, which is underneath this wig, and then I just wig it.
Right.
Or I wear turbans or scarves because I don't want to have to deal with
No.
it anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I would probably say that is it for me as well. Now, initially, I started with the head wraps just because it was just easier, right? I had so many doctor's appointments and I was so sick, right? Like I did not even want to deal with my hair. But the medication, I definitely wore head wraps throughout my entire process of the whole lung transplant journey. But the medication was making my hair come out, not only making
Hmm.
my hair come out, but it was also changing the texture
Yeah.
of my hair because I was wearing my hair natural and it would naturally curl. It was like really pretty healthy curls, but because of all of that medication, now it's like it's dense, it's coarse, it doesn't curl the way it used to. So I too did I shaved my sides once again, and then I just kept hair like a mohawk in the middle, and then I would braid that part, and that made me feel like myself. That's between my braids make me feel like myself, or if I just cut it into a short pixie. So now I'm in the process of just letting the sides grow back, so it
Hmm.
looks crazy underneath here. So the head wraps still come in handy. But I think in the summertime, if my hairdresser will allow it. The only reason why I love her is because she will not let me color, relax, nothing if she feels it's not healthy. But I'm hoping that if anything else, she will let me just relax it. And I just want to cut it. It's going to be a cut short pixie where all I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
do is just brush it and then just keep it moving. So I had to adjust that my hair was not going to be the same anymore. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, it's definitely the hair for me,
Yeah.
definitely the hair. And I was a hair person. I used to be at the hairdresser quite regularly,
Mm.
but I find it was like wasting money because every time you go, first the texture changes.
Hmm.
Now, Lavetta, you totally could comprehend. It doesn't feel nice and soft anymore. It feels more like steel wool, like
Mm-hmm,
rough, really rough and you know, and hard.
mm-hmm.
So
And dry,
I was really surprised to
Yes.
find out
dry.
how fast, yes, dry. And it doesn't matter how much moisturizer you put in it or how much mousse you put in it, it it just evaporates.
Yeah,
So I just let it go.
yeah.
And I just start wearing wraps or braid. I did the braid. The only thing that I should say is, which is hard for me, is growing out my roots because sometimes when you're going out, you want to cover up those roots, and of course they're exposed.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
what I do, what I do, I a friend of mine, she has cancer, and she told me about this rinse. I'll send the thing to you, Lavetta. And
Okay.
that's what I've been using. I've been using the rinse. So I have not put any dye in my hair. The rinse
Mm.
doesn't last as long.
Yeah, yeah. I've used rinse too. Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't last as long. But if I have to go out on, say we're going on vacation, the rinse won't last for the vacation because I've tried that. So what I do, there's another dye. It doesn't have a lot of chemical in it, so I'll use that one if I'm going on vacation. It's like you have to know how to balance it. So
Yeah.
it's either braid, wrap,
Mm-hmm.
dye, or rinse.
And
Right.
you know what's interesting? I think that's there's that definitely, and I also think that there's two other things that I like to mention that I just stopped. Like I was like, no, this is too much. I don't worry about my weight. Like I
Hmm.
worry about it, but I don't obsess
Worry
over
about it.
it because
Right.
due to certain medications or certain times where you do feel sick. Like if I'm too sick or I'm too tired to go to the gym, I listen to my body. I'm like, no, I think I'm gonna hang out today. Um, they when in 2021 they gave me 40 milligrams of prednisone per week. Yeah, it's a lot. That's a high dosage
Yeah,
of
I
medicine.
know. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, and then I was gaining about 10 pounds per week, and I had gone up to 350 pounds or something like that, which was a lot. That was the most I've ever had in my life.
Mm,
And it's now 2025, and I'm still trying to lose the weight. I've lost over 100 pounds, but I still have like 80 more pounds to.
congratulations.
Thank
Right.
you, but I still
You're
have
looking
80
very
more.
good.
That's hard
Oh,
work.
thank you.
You're looking good.
But I still have 80 more pounds to go, but I also I've learned to, I look at other people at the gym and I'm like, must be nice.
Right. I don't
But
even bother with that.
I have
Not
I
at
have
all.
a story with the weight to share with you with waiting. So I went to my liver specialist retired,
Oh no.
and I got this new one. The
Yeah.
new graduates, they just come from school and they think they're queen or kings. So I got one of those ones, and she walked in the room. I've never met her before. She didn't even introduce herself. She walked in the room, and there was an intern that was doing, the pre-med before the doctor comes in. And she walks in the room and she looks at my chart and she said, hello. Didn't tell me her name or anything, no, no introduction. And then she started discussing my sarcoidosis of the liver. And then she looks at me and she said, you're too fat.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
my goodness. I had a doctor like that too. He
Oh
was
my.
older, had a hearing aid, and he was Spanish. I don't know if it's worse hearing it in English or hearing it in Spanish. I think Spanish might be worse. He was like,
Mm.
"I think you need gastric bypass surgery." And this
Oh
is
my goodness.
yes, and this is after me losing 100 pounds. This is not
Oh
me at
my
my
God.
heaviest. And
Wow.
actually, which is really interesting because for us, for people with sarcoidosis, we're high risk surgery.
Yes.
We're not easy surgery. So, um, for me, it's just me eating my salad and working out, and that's all I can do. I wouldn't put myself through gastric bypass surgery. I've had friends who were somewhat quote unquote healthy, and they've had issues with gastric bypass surgery. And it's after he said that, I was like, I'm not coming back.
Totally different approach I took. This was a woman. So
Mm.
I came home and I called all my family and my friends and I just vented. And I said to my husband, I'm going to show her. That's what I said.
Oh, you poor
I said,
thing.
Wow.
oh yes, when I went back from my visit, she couldn't believe how much I lost. She I said, that's what I said to myself. I said, you think I'm fat? Okay, I'm going to show you. I was really, really ticked off. I was offended. And
Yeah.
and I've been seeing her for a few years now. And my husband said, you still haven't gotten over it. I said, nope, still haven't
Nope.
gotten over it.
Yeah, but
Because the
that's
way
not
she
even
said it,
fair because with the
Yeah.
prednisone, when they put you on
yes,
prednisone, that's
yes,
not even
You
fair.
automatically gain weight.
Even if you're
Absolutely.
yes,
doing physical therapy or you're working out, you
yes.
still gain weight. And it's not
But
even
this is the
muscle
way
weight.
she said it, Linda. It's the way she said it. It's like looking down on your weight, like somebody putting you down because you're overweight.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I know. I had the same feeling. I'm sure
yeah,
Lavetta has had that issue too. I'm sure all of us have with sarcoid
yes,
have had issues
yes.
like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially being on when you're on high dosage levels of prednisone, you are absolutely going to gain weight. You will, we had the pie face or the moon face. My face
Hmm.
was so round, I almost didn't even like recognize myself at one point. But yeah, I put on a lot of weight as well from the high level of prednisone because I was on. I know when I was in the hospital, they started me out high, but I went down. But I remember I wasn't on 40 like regular, but I know I was definitely on 20
Yeah.
for a while at home. But in the hospital, I was on a higher dosage, but that was just like maybe like for, a couple of days and then they would bring me down, bring me down. But yeah, I was like 160, so that's a lot. That's
Hmm.
a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. And I have been on prednisone for 15 years.
Yeah, it
That's
hasn't
a
been 15.
long.
Well, actually, I
Yeah.
know I've been on prednisone since 2015.
But that's still a long time to be on
Yeah,
prednisone.
yeah,
Prednisone
and
is
I will
only,
be on it for the rest of my life. So I'm
yeah,
on 5 milligrams now, but
Oh, that's
I'm on
good
five
though.
milligrams also, 5 milligrams. Yeah.
Yeah.
But prednisone is not meant for us to be on it for such a long time. Supposed to be a short-term solution. But because there is no other medication
What
for
about
or
pardon, Jackie, because
yeah, there's no. Go ahead, Linda.
there's a whole list of medications though. The Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research does provide a full list of it. And
Hmm.
the one I've been on right now, knock on wood, and it's not as harsh as prednisone, has been Plaquenil.
Mhm.
Um,
Buckingham.
yeah, Plaquenil or
Uh,
hydrochloroquine
What I discussed that with my one of my doctors, and what he said that the prednisone covered more
more.
than, yeah, it does, because it's also good for if you're having joint pain or stuff like that, things like that. The prednisone will cover that portion of your discomfort. So I don't know why a lot of doctors sticking with the prednisone, but it's not something that is good for your system, because it really breaks your system down.
Yeah, my rheumatologist told me that she put me on Plaquenil because it was gentle and that even pregnant women could take Plaquenil.
Oh wow.
Mm.
So because the prednisone, I felt like I was on crack. I've never been on crack, but that's the feeling. It gives you like you can't sleep at night, then you're
Oh
hungry, then you
yeah,
just ate, but then you're hungry again.
yeah.
And then I mean the last time I was on Plaquenil, it was a low dosage and I did pretty good. I only gained 6 pounds, but that's because I was reminding myself to like reach for a banana
Right to eat.
and
Yeah,
like reach for the
yeah.
salad and try to eat that stuff. Although it's crazy because then you have crazy cravings too. Like all of a sudden I was eating pickles. I'm like, why am I eating
Oh,
pickles
oh
on
Lord, no.
on freaking prednisone? It'll give you the
Yeah,
weirdest like cravings. I'm like, I don't even eat pickles.
my sleeping is horrific because, and I'm normally in the bed between definitely between 9 and 10, and what happens is that I can fall asleep like around 11 for about maybe 2 3 hours tops, and then I'm like wide awake, and then it's like my body feels like I slept for 8 hours and I did not, and so I'm up till like 5 o'clock, and then by the time I fall asleep, it's time to turn around and to like really like get up. So, and I do, my doctors, they did give me sleeping meds, but sometimes I try to stay away from them because of the way they make me feel the next day. Like
Mm,
I still feel like I'm drugged up. Like I feel like I was out drinking the
yep.
night before. And so that's another day down. You know what I mean? So I try not to take them unless it's been like 3 days straight and I really haven't gotten any sleep. Then I'll just say, you know what, I have to deal with it. And then I'll take it.
I too, I was prescribed sleeping pills, and I take them sometimes. But I'll give you a joke that my husband always cracks up when I tell him that. When I can't sleep and I'm restless in bed, and goes, "Have you taken your sleeping pills?" I said, "No, I have them underneath the bed. They should make me sleep because I have them underneath the bed."
I wish.
I love Jackie and her Canadian jokes. They're so funny.
Right, right. I wish. I would love
Uh,
it to work that way.
Underneath the bed, obviously, because I'm tossing and turning.
oh my gosh, you're too much. You're so funny. Anyhow, we have a few minutes left, and I want to ask you one last question before our time runs up. And we'll just go with Lavetta and Jackie, and if there's time left, then I'll speak. But Lavetta, what's one thing that keeps you pushing that you're excited about?
You know, let me tell you, God has showed up and showed out for me throughout this entire process that I know it was him that has gotten me through. Quite honestly, everything else is secondary, thirdary. Like he really keeps me pushing. Like he just has blessed me with so many opportunities. I was able to do um uh like a little documentary, a health documentary with the Washington Post that was published on their website. That was awesome. I started a new business called Cups and Candles. I'm working on rebranding because I want to go more into stationery. I've always love stationery. So I'm going to rebrand that sometime this year. I recently relocated back. This is the thing. Let me tell you how good God is. Not only did he relocate me back to Charlotte, but I got the exact same apartment that I had to give
Wow.
up to go to Durham. 2.5 years
Wow.
later, do you hear
Wow.
me? And
Hmm.
I looked in early January to see what they had available here, and they did have one apartment available, but it was on what they called like the first floor, and I didn't want to be on the first floor. And so the week of Christmas, I happened to start to look again. And I called a couple of places, and then my spirit said, you know what, check where you used to live. And so I went online, I checked, and here they list the unit numbers. And I'm looking down the list. And when I saw the unit number, like I knew like that was the address, like that was the apartment that I had. And I was like, oh my God. So I went through the whole process and I am back in the same apartment that I had to give up. And
God is
God
good.
knew I loved this apartment so much. It was like it's so bright in here. My friends are here, so
That's
that was
nice.
truly a blessing. And so, when things like that happen to me and I get to share his goodness with people, he keeps me pushing because I know he's got my back regardless, even when I am in tears and I am just like, Lord, okay, I can't do this no more. And he goes, yes, you can, just hold on. So that is what keeps me pushing. It's my
And your
faith in
book.
God.
And your book.
And my book, yes, I did a my first compilation with 6 other authors, and that was like really exciting as well. So I got to express my story, or share my journey rather, and a little bit about me on a personal level. So that was a great experience too as well. So yes, I do have a book.
What pushes me is the the Lord. Every single day He has blessed me with so much, more than I can imagine.
Mhm.
And what drives me is motivating others. I love to motivate other people. So that is my two. I know we don't have time, but those are my two, the Lord and motivating other people.
Yeah.
Wow, what a journey, and what resilience these ladies have shown. Yeah, I would probably uh, echo the same as these ladies have said as well. God motivating other individuals, helping people reach their greatest potential. And right now, I'm in part of my life where I just want to give back. I want to help other people get to their goals, whatever their goals is, whether it's business or legal or politics. So that's what I'm here for. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us in a special edition about sarcoidosis with Miss Lavetta Lovely Smith and Jackie.